Angry MGTOW here, and I have with me today
Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to say, what happened? My
Amanda.
phone's being stupid.
Come
Can you hear
on,
me?
introduce yourself. Yeah.
Amanda Wolfchild. Sorry, I thought you were going to say my name, and then my phone decided to act stupid all of a sudden.
Okay, so I've got Amanda Tittied Wolfschild here with me today, and we're going to be discussing a couple of things. One, a lot of you guys have been like nagging at my nuts for like talking to Amanda, and I'm not sure if you guys are like making stuff up, which is really one of the problems that's happening in the community. So basically, Amanda, one thing is just to clear the air. There are some people who said that you went on a podcast. At least one person said you went on a podcast and you made a claim that you had essentially castrated the angry MGTOW, and you set him straight about sex, and you set him straight about being angry at women. Did you and your husband, did you do this?
No, never did anything like that. Since you asked me the question, I started trying to think, what could I have possibly said that could have been construed as that? I could have possibly said something along the lines of me and my husband had a conversation with him, and I might have said that you were not as extreme as you used to be, but nothing that said that I did anything to change your mind in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. So at this point, I want to say I don't believe you, but considering how badly the MGTOWs have been behaving badly, I really have no grounds not to believe you. And this is really what's getting fucked up about the MGTOW community. I had a shitty day today. This chick was being snarky with me. And, you know, a lot of MGTOWs would say they'd immediately go to their happy place, which is the hate all women mode, where shit, all women are like that, all women are evil. I just came to the conclusion, I just had a really fucked up day. And it was just one woman. And if I have to speak to her again, I'll probably just clear the air next time. But it's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly. And they never think about that. Maybe that one woman that you ran into at that moment, maybe she's not a bitch all the time. Maybe she had a horrible fucking day too and just snapped and was a bitch to you then. Maybe she's not always a bitch.
Yeah, and then also it could also be a misunderstanding. That's another thing. Like I might be reading too much into it. And this is the thing. There's a lot of the MGTOWs basically said that a lot of, and I agree with this, that I didn't actually, double down on the conversation with you because you were basically saying that men and women were equal. And the thing is, I don't believe that we're equal. I don't believe that men and I don't believe that we have equal capacity to do anything. I believe that men create, women consume. But with that said, you have your beliefs, and I respect your beliefs. And I have my beliefs, and I like to think that you respect my beliefs. Can we agree on that?
Yeah. I mean, I respect that you have the right to believe whatever you want to believe. I want to clarify what I believe about men and women, though. I believe there is a biological difference in men and women. That's obvious and proven. I just think that we both have our own equal contributions to our species. We do different things, but if it wasn't for both of us, we wouldn't be here. Like men couldn't do it alone, neither could women equally.
When you say equally, though, for example, women had their roles, men have theirs.
Yeah, and they're different.
Right? For example, women
filling a role.
Shut up, Amanda. Women were good at sitting at home, taking care of children, holding down the fort. I mean, they had a role that they played. They're good at nurturing. They're good at raising children. They're good at and men were good at going out, gathering, hunting, building, those things. Do you agree with that?
Actually, if you look at it, the studies that they're doing in, have you seen that monkey tribe that lives in very similar circumstances to what our prehistoric ancestors would have lived in? They showed that the females were the ones that learned how to hunt first, like with tools. The male primates, they go out and they hunt by hand because they have the strength. They can do that. Because the women don't, they innovated, they created the tools.
Hold on, Amanda, that's among primates. That does not prove that women created tools in our society.
No, but it is an example, the only example we have to show what our ancestors, our primate-like ancestors probably followed along this very similar path. They show that it's very
Citation, please. Citation, please.
I can actually go back through my liked videos after we finish this and find you that and send it to you.
The point is that you're using a group of monkeys to make a comparison, and while there's a potential correlation because there's a relationship between monkeys and human beings, primates, I agree with that. At the end of the day, it does not definitively prove that women are the creators of tools.
But you can't definitively prove that men did it either. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying men and women have an equal contribution to society. The reason that women stayed home with the kids was because we needed to be there.
Okay, listen. When you look at all the major innovations over the 20th century, I mean, the aeroplane, the computer, the cesarean section, all the major innovations, men imagine. Women don't have the same imagination that men do. We imagine the craziest things, the most outlandish things, and then we build them. Women don't have that same drive. They don't have the same capacity to create in the way men do. And I think that it's ridiculous the way that we do. I mean, the way you talk, you would almost sound like you're suggesting a woman created the wheel.
You don't know. We don't have definitive proof of what happened back then, whether it was the male or the female of the species that invented that. And as for art and innovation, there are women that have been a part of that throughout history as well, and science. We haven't had as big a role because the main part for women up until a very recent point has been to stay at home and continue to procreate in order to further our species. If they hadn't done that, we would not have a species now. We came down to a point of near extinction over 10 times.
And guess what, Amanda? If men had not protected women, went out, labored, risked our lives, many of us died, losing our lives, fighting against the elements to protect our families, to protect our children, to protect our wives, then we wouldn't be here either. So to act like...
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there was an equal contribution from both men and women.
Women contributed in the home, and I give women that entirely. But men are the ones who built societies, and I don't believe that women have the same cognitive capacity to do.
Any time that it has come down to it, and women needed to step up as a whole, they did. When the men were out fighting wars, and women had to step up and fill the jobs and fill the roles, they did so.
Women, okay, what jobs did women fill? They filled the administrative roles. That's what women. They helped with production. Yes, they helped with production. I admit they were able to help with automated tasks, but when it really came down to the major industrialized roles, women did not fill those roles. You still needed men working on welding. Males were still the welders during World War II. You didn't have a sudden burst of female welders. I'm sure that there were some, but they were still, all the ships were still being built by men. All the major machinery was still being built by men. All the food transportation in the United States was still being done by men. We have to acknowledge these things.
Yeah, I'm not saying those things aren't true, but I'm saying that women have an equal capacity to do these things. But at those times in history, it wasn't necessary, and it wasn't a good idea.
Again, I disagree that women have an equal capacity, and I think until women can prove themselves that they have an equal capacity, I'm simply going to say they don't. Now, with that said, Amanda, this is not the point I'm trying to get across, though. I understand that, and we can simply choose to politely disagree, can we not?
Yeah, we always have interesting conversations, and we're just going to believe what we believe.
There we go. And that's the thing. Like, for example, at the same time, though, I don't think you're a terrible person. I don't think that you want to oppress men. And I don't think that, based on the way you are, despite your beliefs, I don't think that you're the type of person that is fighting for equal, even though you believe that women have an equal capacity, you're not fighting for equal representation for women.
No, women have to be interested in it. And you're not going to find that with this generation. Maybe with the next, there will be, more women that step up and they want to prove, because maybe because of all this crazy you see in the feminists today, maybe there will be a spark in the next generation to prove, hey, we can be intelligent and we can actually do these things. That's my only hope for all this shit. That's the only good that could come out of this nonsense.
Well, see, here's the thing. I wouldn't call it good because at the same time, you may have a generation of women that say, hey, we're more capable, so we're going to become scientists, but at what cost? You'll also, if you have a generation of boys who say, well, we were told that we should go into other roles, or you know what, we don't like going to school, so we're just going to drop.
I don't think that you'll actually see that happen with boys. It might, and that would be horrible, horrible thing to come out of this. Like this, all this crap that's going on is stupid and it's horrible, and I don't like it happening. But I'm hoping that this is going to inspire the more moderate people, which is the majority in this country, the more silent majority, to teach both their daughters and their sons that they need to go out and prove that they're intelligent, that they are not like these loudmouth crazies, and that they can work hard and do things, and that they can make America better. Did we lose you, Angry? Oh no, I wonder if we're still live. Am I the only one talking here? Well, all right. Oh, he's back. Okay, good.
Yeah. So what's the last thing you heard me say?
The last thing you said was that it could bring about a generation of young boys who say that they should go and be involved in different things. And I was saying, oh,
I'm here.
again.
I'm here.
Oh, okay. And I was just saying that that would be a horrible thing to come out of this, and that I think all of this nonsense that's going on is terrible, but I think the more moderate middle will raise both their sons and their daughters to be more intelligent than these loudmouth crazies, and to go out and do actual good things for the world.
Okay, just be warned right now, like there's like a duplicate of me in the chat, so
just in case you drop again.
Yeah. So all right. So I mean, again, like I said, we can always agree to disagree, but the thing is, I had a bad day, and I came to realize that just because I had a bad day and I had one woman, something happen, doesn't mean that all women are bad. And despite, and it fell out again. And despite all of that, I rationalized to myself pretty quickly that I'm tired of blaming women for all my problems. I had a video that I did with a bit of Brit, and I was talking to a bit of Brit, and she basically said that, she was going down the whole feminist rabbit hole, and then she was becoming really depressed. And then she finally just like sat down and she said, you know what, I'm tired of this. And she said she thought back and she realized that all of the problems that happened in her life, she was responsible for them. I look back at my own life and I've had some fucked up things happen to me. A lot of them were my own fault. In fact, some of them actually happened because I let my mind get away. When I was in college, I ended up having a serious issue. Something happened to me at one university that I was going to. This woman said that I harassed her, right? Mm-hmm. And I ended up having to change schools because the administrations became really poor towards me. So I changed schools and I went to another university. At this other university, everybody loved me. But because of the really bad treatment that I got at the last university, I basically started treating everyone else there poorly. And it was all a group of women. And the funny thing is that they were really kind to me. I mean, for example, there were scholarships and they were really they were really pushing for me. But I let my bad experience with one woman and her cronies completely throw me off and fuck up a lot of other opportunities for me.
A good experience you could have had.
Yeah, everything was going well, and it's just terrible. I mean, it was like, one woman told an absolute lie, and then I allowed that lie, I went somewhere else, and then I allowed that lie to fuck up everything for me. I mean, everything for me. I ended up fucking up my relationship with the dean of the university. Who who was my, the dean of medicine. I fucked up my relationship with her just because I didn't want to deal with her because she was a woman, and because I had a bad relationship. I fucked up my relationship with a lot of people there. Hell, I could have banged the girl at the front desk, but I was so like blaming every fucking woman for the shit that happened to me that I just could not get out of that mindset of victimization.
Exactly. Now, look, I'm of the belief that up until you're an adult, like when you're a child, your parents are responsible for the things that happen to you and even the decisions that you make because they're your parent and it is their responsibility to lead you down the right path at that age. Once you become an adult, then you're responsible for your life and you have to deal with whatever they fucked up because let's face it, most parents fuck kids up. You have to deal with that and you have to take a personal responsibility for changing the things that they have affected, for the behaviors that you have because of the things in your past.
It's, I'm just like sitting here thinking like, I can't do this anymore. I cannot go down this. I just can't go down this path anymore. And like, I brought you on because I kind of wanted to like, the fact that so many people in the MGTOW community absolutely hate you. And
they do. They hate me.
They hate you.
They do.
They absolutely.
I don't know why.
The vagina, there's a lot of them that are allergic to that thing.
I guess. I don't know. They think I'm a trap. That's what She can't be real. She's reasonable. Don't believe it. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
I don't know. I just think it's
well, that's actually true. Like, I mean, for example, there are some women who are like fucked up in this community, but at the same time, like, I'm thinking about it now, like, geez, I can't like blame every single person for something bad. Like, I'll give you a good example. Roman Millennial, I treated her like shit. And she could have retaliated a couple of times. And I'm still like, I think she really wants me to like her. And I'm still like kind of like anxious when I deal with her just because but we talked and I completely understand her now. And it's funny because, again, MGTOW there's a lot of MGTOWs going in this radical direction where essentially all women are bad, all women are evil, and it's, again, I believe that women have a specific nature, just like men have a specific nature. Men have their own nature, women have their own nature, but it doesn't mean that they're all evil.
That's another thing I don't agree with you on. I believe there's a basic human nature, and I believe people are different biologically based on whether they're a male or a female, and you're more naturally going to be inclined to certain things based on your gender, but I don't believe there's a male or female nature.
Okay, well, again, we can disagree on that. Although we may not be disagreeing entirely. For example, you said behaviors based on gender may be different.
You might be more inclined to a certain behavior but that doesn't predetermine anything.
We think differently. We think differently. Men and women think differently. Can you agree on that?
Oh yeah.
That's all I mean. When I say nature, I'm just talking about we think differently. We think differently, and as a result, we may behave differently. But I'm not saying like we're extremely different. We're so different that we don't think very. There are more similarities than differences when it comes to men and women.
Look, we just have different perspectives on things. Like, we go through the same emotions, we all feel the same pain and shit, but men tend to think more analytically, and they tend to not admit to an emotion. Y'all will bottle it up until it explodes on y'all.
That's not entirely true either. For example, that's in some.
That's a lot of men, but
that's how some men do it.
It has been scientifically proven that girls are better at compartmentalizing.
Okay, here's the thing. As men, we express ourselves differently. For example, yes, a lot of men do bottle it up more, but at the same time, the way we choose to express our emotions are different than women. We don't want to sit there and cry. We usually want to fix the problem. If a man actually cries, it's usually because it's pretty bad. That's something a lot of women don't understand. Some women say, oh, if you would just learn how to open up more and cry more, you'd feel so much better. That
Oh,
doesn't.
I'm not really like that. I don't really cry, and I'm more of a suck it up kind of person.
Yes, what are you talking to me about this for? You're like, oh, well, you guys won't express your emotions.
But that's what I'm saying. Girls have been scientifically proven to be better at compartmentalizing within the situation. Like
Men,
I'm saying when the stress is on.
see, that's the thing. Like I said, men and women handle situations differently. And I think that a lot of times women don't realize we allow them because we take the role of trying to solve the problem while they express themselves. That's why things get done. Men often have to suck it up and get shit done, which is something I think you can actually understand. You know,
Yeah, I'm the suck it up and get shit done type. You
and
compartmentalize and deal with your shit later.
that Amanda, how many times do men do that while women sit and cry? Let's be honest.
Oh, I'm
Women,
not saying, yeah, most women are like that. Most women are the crying.
now imagine if men did the same thing and did not suck it up. Imagine if most men were like women. What would happen?
But I'm saying I think everybody has the capacity to just suck it up, compartment and deal with shit and move on. But most women, they've never had to.
That's right. And it's because and they have that luxury because men suck it up and get things done. We can deal with it later. We can sit around and think about
Or
it later.
or parents, like the pressure is put more on a boy to handle a situation, and a girl is usually cared for more. That's why I'm not like that, because I took care of shit. Like that was just, I had to take care of myself, so I had to suck it up and take care of shit.
The point is that when it comes down to it, there are differences, but again, just because there are differences, it doesn't mean that we're alien species. I think that feminism has essentially created a generation where men and women are so afraid of each other now because of all the laws, the propaganda, the bullshit, that we're having a hard time communicating. And I also blame social media for some of it too, because the way we communicate today is very different. We no longer have to sit down and have a conversation with each other. Dates are arranged over text messages and canceled over text messages. People meet and greet through Snapchat. I mean, it's definitely not a good way of doing things. And I'll admit that technology has facilitated it. But beyond that, it really does come down to the fact that feminism has divided us in that way. And MGTOW are starting to really become, a lot of MGTOW, not all MGTOW, are beginning to become extremely distant when it comes to women, afraid to have relationships that have anything to do with them. MGTOW was never created to essentially say, I don't want to have anything to do with a woman. It's your choice as a MGTOW to not have anything to do with a woman. And I'm sure you can respect every man's choice to say, I don't want a woman, I don't want to have anything to do with women. Women can fuck off. I'm sure you can respect that.
I've always said that it's a viable choice for a man to make. It's a viable choice for a woman to decide to make. I don't think that it's for everybody, and it's not a choice that I would encourage people to like seek out. But if you get to that point and that's what you want to do and you just want to focus on you, fuck it. Why not?
That's exactly it. And I mean, I'll tell you what's happening right now. I don't know. I just never, I am not the gatekeeper of MGTOW, and I never wanted the role. And it's becoming absolutely stressful now because we're headed towards MGTOW civil war, which is more or less a showdown between the olders and the older MGTOW and me and some of the others. Whereas, I mean, MGTOW was never ever about not having anything to do with women. This whole thing about having different levels of MGTOW that the Vice article published, I feel like ripping them a new asshole. That never existed. There are no different levels of MGTOW. There's no such thing as level 100. I'm a Super Saiyan. I'm a Super Saiyan 1000. There's no such thing as that. MGTOW is essentially just going your own way. You can't tell another man how they're going their own way. And if a man wants to be in a relationship with a woman as they're going their own way, you can't really tell him anything either. You're just out. Now, can you say it's risky being in a relationship? Sure as hell you can say it's risky being in a relationship. Can you say,
But that's why you should only get into a relationship with somebody that you know very well. Like, we have a problem in this generation with people not believing men and women can be friends. I think men and women should be friends. You should be friends with somebody for a long time before you're thinking about, hey, I think I love this person and I think I want to start a relationship with them.
Here's the thing. I get lots of messages from people who've been in men who were in relationships for 20 years, and then she just changed on him and basically dumped him one day and took everything, or they were together for 10 years and after 10 years she
You
said,
know, people do change, but I think a relationship, that's always a two-person thing. And if something like that suddenly happened, what did he do? What was he
no, no,
doing
no, 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 no.
or
Don't
not
do that.
doing?
Don't do that, Am. Don't do that,
I
Am.
have to know
Because they
both
no, and that's
sides.
something that I hate that women do. What did he do? You need to stop putting blame on men, and that's why.
No, I'm not saying blame the man. I'm saying if you're going to tell the story, I need both sides in order to know what
There
happened
are,
there.
listen to me, a lot of the time there are women, this is something that you won't admit to, it's something that I've read other women talk about. There's an article that a woman wrote. There's an article that was published about a woman, and it came out a number of years ago. She's a very successful businesswoman. She got married to her soulmate, literally her soulmate, in her early 20s. But as she moved up the career ladder, he basically stayed the same. And as she continued to make more money, he basically just stayed at home. And she basically started to resent the fact that she was becoming more successful while he wasn't. It's not that he didn't have a job. He just
Okay, calm down, kiddo.
It's not that he didn't have a job. It's just that he did not. It's just that he was not achieving as much as she did, and she ended up leaving him, and thinking that there was someone better out there for her. And her father begged her not to do that, but she kept on thinking there was someone better. And in the end, she ended up absolutely miserable by her decision, and she essentially wrecked apart their relationship. There's a lot of women today who are constantly looking for something better.
There's a lot of men like, I'm not saying there aren't a lot of women like that. There's a lot of men like that too. And especially in high-powered positions like that, they've proven that the majority of the people that find themselves in a high-powered business position like that, they're a sociopath or a psychopath. The majority of them.
When I spoke to you and your husband, I heard your husband. There was something that came up when you guys had to move in with his parents. Was that it, or your parents, one or the other?
His parents, yeah, we moved in with his parents for 4 years.
When you guys had to move in with his parents, he was afraid that you were going to leave him.
I don't know why.
But again, Amanda, he was afraid that you were going to leave him. And think about that. You said you don't know why, but I mean, it's amazing.
It's not like he treated me better because he was afraid of that or anything. He got depressed and he was treating me like shit. I was literally dying on a couch while I was also watching our son because he was sleeping. My mother had to come and pick me up and take me to a hospital to save my life, our baby's life, and to watch our other son. And he didn't even come visit me. I was in the hospital for 3 days and he never came to visit me. My brother watched our child. And I forgave him for that because he was depressed and he was fucked up at the time. And I was sick and messed up and we got our shit together.
Listen to me. I'll put it this way. You don't sound like a bad woman. You definitely sound like you have morals. But honestly, I think when I speak to women like you, I think you're the exception to the rule. Because I think most women today are very narcissistic. And it's something that I definitely think more women have gone down the rabbit hole than men. I'm not saying there are not narcissistic men, but I think more as a society today, women are extremely narcissistic and they expect too much from relationships.
I think that happens a lot, yeah, but I think we also have a generation of men who expect a lot from relationships as well. They expect the woman to be we have a generation of men and women who expect to find that perfect partner and the relationship to be easy and everything to just be first love all the time. We have a generation of people that don't understand that everything is hard work. Every relationship, every part of life is hard work. Nothing is easy. That's also why you have a generation of people that don't understand that having an abortion is murder, whether you need one or not. That is the loss of a life. You have a generation of people that don't understand that they're creating a life every single time they have sex. There's the potential that you are creating a life. They
You know
don't
what's
think about that.
you know what's funny, Amanda? Here we are, you defending women, and you're like the typical, you're like the perfect example of a good housewife.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little Susie homemaker. But I'm just saying, I'm not really defending this generation of women. I'm saying we have a fucked up generation of both women and men. And we need to work on that. We need to work on that for the next generation before they get fucked up even worse.
I will say this though, and I don't agree with everything you said, but I do agree that we have some serious problems with this generation of men, and a lot of the problems we have these days is because of what the previous generation of women did, and what this generation of men are allowing to happen as well. And I can agree to that. We do have a problem that does perpetuate. It's not just the women; it's an issue with all of us.
Jumper? What? Sorry, he wants a game. You want that one? There you go.
Yeah. So I mean, we definitely have an issue that's revolving around all of us right now, and we definitely, men and women, it's something we definitely have to address unanimously. But in terms of hating women, I'm realizing, like, again, I think that it is time that a lot of MGTOW in general, men in general, understand that you're always going to have a shitty experience with some woman, but letting that one experience control your entire life is the wrong way to go. Because I made some mistakes. I realize now that set my life on a really bad course. And if I had even asked for help when I needed it, things could have been different as well. But I let my fear and my anger of women completely ruin everything, because I had bad relationships with one or two very terrible women. And then I turned around and was really, and I ruined things with some really exceptional. It's funny how life is. You meet one really awful person, and then you meet someone really exceptional, but because of the really awful person before, you end up treating the exceptional person like shit. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, and then that exceptional person turns around and is the awful person for the next person.
You think so?
Yeah, you have to take personal responsibility in a relationship to realize that, everybody fucks everybody up, and you've got to work hard. Like, we had to deal with issues. My husband had to deal with issues that I had. I had to deal with issues that he had, and we had to work through those together. And that comes like after the honeymoon period of the relationship. That's the hard work. And
I get it. You pounded it out between the sheets. I got you.
No, I mean, you can't be like, grow up like I did and not be, a little fucked up. And he has to deal with that. And you can't have a relationship like he had right before me and deal with some of the shit that he has to deal with in his life and not be fucked up. And I have to deal with that shit. But I mean, we both put up with each other's shit, and the good outweighs the bad in the relationship. People don't take that into account anymore. They want everything to be perfect. They expect their partner, whether it's the man or the woman, to fill every emotional need that they have, and they never expect to have to do any hard work for the other person. They don't understand what love is anymore.
I know you got to go make dinner in a moment, so I'll just, wrap up here by saying that at the end of the day, shit happens, and we can't change the past. We can only move forward. But if we completely hinder ourselves or try to protect ourselves from every bad thing happening by cutting ourselves off from others, including women, we're going to find ourselves miserable and hurting ourselves the most in the end. I think that's the best way to put it. I know that a lot of you guys are pissed off that I'm talking to these women or that I'm engaging them, but guys, really, what the hell? At this point, we're all going to die at some point, and we can only protect ourselves so much. I mean, I can't let women affect my life, everything I do. There's really just no point in it. I doubt that Amanda's going to accuse me of rape tomorrow, unless you are, because that'd be a real cunty thing to do, Amanda. Please don't accuse me of rape. Please don't accuse me of rape, Amanda.
It's internet rape. Totally a non-consensual conversation.
Guys, do you see this? She's trying to accuse me of rape. You see, you know what's fucked, guys? Listen, if you guys can't laugh at this, fuck you. I mean, seriously, we can either try to just chill and enjoy the rest of our lives, or you can sit there in your anger and your pissed off state, being pissed off at every chick and saying every woman is like that. Again, me and Amanda don't agree on everything, but I mean, if you're
interesting conversations.
If you're gonna be pissed off with every single woman, you're gonna be miserable for the rest of your fucking life. That's no way to live. So like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and all roads lead to MGTOW death.